Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be talking about PMS symptoms and pregnancy signs. When I say PMS symptoms, they are premenstrual syndrome. Those are the signs you see before your menstrual period starts, before your menstruation starts, before your period starts. So one of the signs you see is one, you will see breast changes. These breast changes, it happens both in PMS and both in pregnancy. So the breast can be fuller, the breast can be tender to touch, and then it can feel sore when you touch. This happens both in pregnancy and in PMS. And then for PMS, it can happen maybe 48 hours to 24 hours before your period starts, and sometimes it goes into the period, but as it starts and then towards the ending, all these things comes down. But it's different in pregnancy. Sometimes when it starts in pregnancy, it goes all the way through the first trimester, sometimes the first month, the second month, and then it can stop. So but there is one basic sign that when you see on your nipple, then it's definitely pregnancy. This is one common thing, that's the nipple and the areola. The areola and the nipple, they change, they become darker. Yes, in pregnancy they become darker, but in PMS it is not dark. So when you see something like this, I think you should go for a test. Sometimes or most times they are definitely pregnancy signs. And then the second one we'll talk about is nausea. Yes, in pregnancy women feel nauseous. In PMS sometimes they can feel nauseous, but the nauseous that comes is more like a gastrointestinal disturbance accompanying PMS. But it doesn't always happen. It's rare, it doesn't always happen. So but in pregnancy it is common. Yeah, it can start even before your missed period and goes all the way into the first trimester, second trimester, and my dear, third trimester. So vomiting is definitely a sign of pregnancy, but it can be 50-50. I'll say a sign for a PMS symptom. That is it. Then the third one we'll be talking about now is cramping. Yes, for PMS, yes, you can experience cramping. It can be 48 hours to your period, 24 hours to your period, and then it goes into your period, then subsides as the day goes by. And then it's also the same thing when it comes to pregnancy. In pregnancy, you experience some crampings, but one basic thing is that when this cramping is too much, I think something is wrong. You should maybe try and speak to your doctor or something like that. Speak to your doctor, speak to your GP to actually have a look on you and see what is happening. But for cramping in pregnancy, it can start even during implantation, before your missed period. But sometimes it's mild. It's not like so much of a cramp, or yeah, it's not so much that it can warrant you going to the hospital. That's why I said when it becomes too much, then there is something is definitely wrong. So cramping can start before a missed period into the pregnancy, during the first week, second weeks, and then onwards. But I think from the first trimester you should stop. Yeah, enter the second trimester, you shouldn't be cramping all the way to the third trimester when you are getting ready for labor and delivery. That's what we'll be talking about is mood changes. I am the culprit in this one. Yes, sometimes it can be a week before my period starts, it can be a few days before my period starts. I get these mood changes. I become so irritable, and then everything makes me cry. Sometimes I can be sad, and I can't say this is the reason why I am sad, this is the reason why I'm crying, because even the simplest thing, the thing that wouldn't even make a baby cry, will make me cry. I think it happens both in pregnancy. I think for the pregnancy it's worse there. Yeah, so when these things happen, it can be premenstrual syndrome or a sign of pregnancy. They can happen both ways. Women will become so irritable, we become so, like call it grumpy here, and everything is an issue. Yeah, and then another one we'll be talking about is changes in appetite. Yeah, so for women, when our period is impending, we tend to have these changes in appetite. We begin to crave. Some people crave for chocolates, yes, and then some people's appetites, they increase. and it can happen some days before your period, and if in the period it stops. And for some people it continues throughout the period until when the period ends. The whole cravings, the whole increase in appetite stops. But for pregnancy, sometimes it continues. And the thing with pregnancy is it gets to they tend to like a particular food. It can be an appetite for a particular kind of meal, a particular kind of dish, and then it continues. Most times they have increase in appetite, and then sometimes there is a decrease in appetite, but they do crave. They have this craving for a particular type of food, or it can be different food, but this craving is not usual for them. That's one particular change in pregnancy, and also a sign of PMS. Then another one we'll be talking about is bleeding. Yes, bleeding is not a sign of PMS. Spotting is not a sign of PMS, but these things can happen before you missed period. Yes, that is a sign of pregnancy. What do I mean by that? When your period is impending, it's either you start seeing your period or you don't. You don't spot before your period, except if you are having a medical problem. But aside that, if it's pregnancy, yeah, during implantation, some people bleed, but it's not so much. Some people spot, but it's not so much before there is a missed period, or before there is a accurate sign of pregnancy, more like a hospital check, a dipstick check, to check if there is pregnancy has occurred. But before then, there shouldn't be any bleeding or any spotting if you are expecting your period. But if you're not expecting your period, maybe you've been trying to have a baby and then you see a spotting, it can be implantation happening. You see bleeding, just a little amount, it can be implantation also happening. So just take your time, give it some few days, and do a pregnancy test and see what's going on. That is it. And then someone told me the last one, a sign of pregnancy that is definitely worth checking, is when you think you're pregnant. When you haven't been using any protection, any contraceptives, and then you are sexually active. You've been active and then you're wondering, am I pregnant? It can be a sign of pregnant. Please, please, please. This is not based on research. It's just based on someone told me, things like that. Or when you go online and start researching signs of pregnancy, I think it's worth checking out for. You should at least do a pregnancy test too. Another sign we'll look out for is cramping. Yes, before your period starts, even a week, it can be 48 hours, it can be 24 hours, you can notice cramping that happens in the lower abdomen, the lower back, that spreads down to the thighs. Yeah, it can happen before your period comes, and it goes into your period and subsides towards the ending. But for pregnancy, cramping is not so much. It's just during implantation. When you notice a severe cramping, please speak to your doctor. Go to your doctor. There might be a problem, so you should go to your doctor. And then the final one I'll be talking about is fatigue. Yes, before your period starts, personally, I do sleep so much. I feel tired. I can't even leave my bed to do anything. But you know, what can we do? We have to do it. So, but in pregnancy, it happens always. There are no two ways about it. In pregnancy, even before you miss period, you see that you are tired, you feel fatigued, you feel worn out, you don't even have strength to do anything, and it goes all the way into the first trimester, sometimes second trimester, or you may stop. But the third trimester is when you think you have some strength to do some things, and then you are preparing and ready for delivery. Thank you guys for watching my video. I hope this will be helpful and educative. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you. Bye.